What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, making their debut on the channel tonight. I hope I don't butcher this name too badly. We have SCHANDMAUL. Yes, indeed. How about that? SCHANDMAUL making their debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbidi-boobidi bop, do me a favor before you do all that stuff. Please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Java Devil, and Java Devil wanted to see me react to this. It is SCHANDMAUL with a tune entitled, and again, I hope I don't butcher this too badly, Knüppel aus dem Sack.
What did he say?
Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Napalm Records, alright? And the video has 155,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. SCHANDMAUL. Knüppel aus dem Sack. Official video. Wah, wah, wah.
Son, you're on your own.
Yeah, there's that word official coming off of Napalm Records' official page. Yes, indeed. Look, you already know what I'm going to say, so I'm not going to say it. All I'm going to say is we're going to have to just, wait and see what happens and hope for the best. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Von all den Helden und den Bösewichten. Doch immer mehr und mit jeder Mähre kommt mir die Erkenntnis in die Quere, dass all das, wonach es hier gilt zu streben, mich nicht wirklich weiterbringt im Leben. Denn Bücherwurm bin ich recht schlecht, durch die Leuchter überziehen, mich verächtlich mit fieser Häme, Spott und Hohn, mit viel gesteigerter Aggression. Und da brauch ich keine holde Königin, brauch keine gute Fee als Helferin, brauch keine Tisch, der sich gar selber denkt, brauch keine Prinzen, der Prinzessinnen wächst. Ich fordere laute Satisfaktion, jede Form der Provokation. Das Einzige, was hilft bei diesem ganzen Lumpenpack, ist der Knüppel aus dem Sack, Knüppel aus dem Sack. 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 Zyklen tragen überall mit hin.
Okay. So, songwriting, the composition, notational selection, chordal progression, rhythmic patterns. I like everything that's happening there. I absolutely do. I think it sounds just fine. I gotta say the rhythmic play is a little more impressive than the notational selection and the chordal selection. The notation and the chordal progression is pretty simple. It's pretty basic stuff. But the rhythmic pattern that they're coming up with, the 16ths, whether it be 3/16, 3/16, 3/16, 3/16, or you know that later on they go to 2/16. They do that too. I like the 3 though. It just feels heavier. It feels heavier. It feels fuller. And it's a very stark contrast to what's happening in the chorus, where they get away from 16ths and they go to 8ths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, as compared to it's an interesting contrast. I like it. It definitely helps identify where we are in the song. When you hear 8ths, it's the chorus. When you hear 16ths, we're in the verse. You know, it helps make things simple. It helps make things defined, and I like that. Vocally, everything he's doing vocally, it fits. It fits. I'm not mad at it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of pure grit and growl, which is basically what he's doing, but what he is doing does fit the context of the song, so I'm not mad at it. Instrumentally, all of the instruments across the board, just sum it all up in one, just group them all up into one thing. They all sound really good. They all sound really good. I don't hear anything that's great, but at the same time, they're doing better than just, you know, solid. You know, it's a little better than that. So no worries. I have a very good feeling that we're going to end up in the positives. I don't see them ending up in the negative scores. I just don't see that. So let's finish this out and we'll get to the review.
Wie der Biberbutzemann nur nicht mit der Führung. Nein, der Knüppel wär so streng. Fühl mich in die Bresche, jeder Rübel schaute schön dumm aus der Wäsche. Denn jeder, der sich dann nicht reißt am Zügel, bekäme eine derartige Trachtprügel, dass sich der Buckel färbt. Erst grün und blau, dann regenbogenartig schillernd wie beim Pfau. Ich fordere laute Satisfaktion, bei jeder Form der Provokation. Das Einzige, was hilft bei diesem ganzen Lumpenpack, ist der Knüppel aus dem Sack.
One.
Knüppel aus dem Sack. Ich hol den Knüppel aus dem Sack, Knüppel aus dem Sack. das ganze Pack. Hol ich den Knüppel aus dem Sack, Knüppel aus dem Sack.
Actually switching to half straight a couple times. Of course. I recognize the first one. I did a reaction to that song way back towards the beginning of the channel. Warriors of the World, I think is what the name of the song was. Yeah, leave it to Napalm. Leave it to Napalm to throw in their little advertisements. They always do it. As I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by those advertisements, interesting choice to go to actual double time as opposed to a double time feel. That was interesting. It worked. Don't get me wrong. It absolutely worked. I wonder why they chose to go that route. That's a question I would love to ask the band, actually. It's not a criticism, understand. I'm not criticizing their choice. I'm just curious what led them to make that choice to go to actual double time as opposed to a double time feel. Anyway, that's just from my own personal, that's just for my own personal interest, I guess. I'd like to know. Anyway, let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was SCHANDMAUL with a tune called Knüppel aus dem Sack. This was a request from Java Devil. And I know I probably butchered all of that, and I'm sorry, but I'm doing the best I can here. Anyway, I got a score. It makes sense to me. It may require a little explanation, but I have a feeling I'll give the score and people are not going to be terribly surprised. So let's get to the score and let's see if you're surprised or not. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that a 7.3. Yep, 7.3. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, a 7.3. What does that mean? Well, a 7.3 would translate to a really good skill rating because overall, I gotta say, I think this is a really good song. It would also get 4 out of 5 stars and a B as in boy, B letter grade. Yeah, let that one sink in. So there you go, a 7.3, really good skill rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and a B as in boy, B letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. Like I said, right now, I'm sure everybody is kind of nodding their head going, yeah, that sounds about right. And listen, I couldn't agree with you more. Now, I'm sure there's going to be a few people that are going, really? 7.3? Are you sure about that? Yes, I'm sure. Let me tell you how I got there. So, the song, okay, let's look at the composition of the song, okay, as far as notation, chordal progression, it's not hard, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy to follow. I would dare say, to some extent, I would dare say predictable. Is there anything wrong with that? Nope, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. People put this negative context on predictability. Oh, the song's predictable. Oh, that play was predictable. Oh, that team is predictable. You know, everybody puts this negative context on predictable. And I don't understand why, because, you know, when things are predictable, that means it's common. You know, it's what you can expect. It's the usual. And there is a certain level of comfort that accompanies that. For example, that's why people watch the same movie 50 times or 100 times during their lifetime, because there's a certain level of comfort that comes along with knowing that so-and-so is going to rescue so-and-so from the clutches of so-and-so. There's a certain comfort that comes with knowing how it's going to turn out for the heroes at the end. The same reason people watch, the same TV shows over and over again. Not the same series, the exact same episodes. Every single episode. They have them memorized because they've watched every episode like 10 times. I hate to throw her under the bus, but my wife, for example.
My wife!
She's a big fan of The Big Bang Theory, and she loves that show, and she has seen every single episode at least 8 times by this point. She knows every episode by heart, and there is a certain level of comfort, knowing that, this is going to happen, and knowing that this person's going to hook up with this person, and, and these two people are going to get married, and, they're going to achieve this goal, and there's a certain comfort that comes with that. So I get it. I'm not disparaging that whatsoever. I agree with it. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with being predictable. Unless you're, a football team and and the defense knows that this team that they're playing every single time on 1st and 10, it doesn't matter where in the field they are, 1st and 10, they're going to give it to the running back up the middle between the center and the right guard. Every single time, like clockwork, they're going to run that play on 1st down. Well, at that point, being predictable, not a good thing. But in any case, there was a certain level of familiarity when it came to the chordal progression. It made sense. It sounded good. To some extent, it sounded a little familiar. Is there anything wrong with that? No, there's not. The strength of this song, honestly, lies in the rhythmic play. At least that's how I feel. I see the strength of this song being in the rhythmic play. Utilizing those 3/16 and 2/16 patterns in the verse and in the pre-chorus. And then when we switch to the chorus, focusing more on the 8th note pattern. I like it. It keeps things very easily identifiable, very easily separated. If you're hearing those 16th notes, especially the 3/16, you're in the chorus. Not in the chorus, you're in the verse. When you hear the 8th note pattern, you're in the chorus. When you hear the 2/8 note pattern, you're in the pre-chorus. So it helps identify each phrase. I think that was really smart. As far as the instrumentation goes, I like the fact that they incorporated those European instruments, the hurdy-gurdy, and the pipes. I was really glad that they did, and not just that they did, but you could hear them in the mix. It wasn't like they were there and pushed so far back into the mix that you couldn't hear them. At which point, the instruments are just eye candy. If you can't hear the instruments, why bother having them? Just for decoration? There's better ways to decorate, guys. There really is. But no, in this case, with this band so far, with this one song I've heard, that's the only song I know. But with this song, you could hear the hurdy-gurdy. You could hear the pipes. They were being represented in the mix, and I appreciate that. Along with the guitars, bass, drums, everything sounded nice across the board. Everything sounded really good. I had no issue with anything I heard. Vocally, I mean, it is what it is. It's all grit and growl, but it does work. It does fit, and the grit and growl was done well. I mean, I may not be the biggest fan of it, but it fit the song. So this is how I'm coming up with that 7.3. Okay, I feel good about that score, and that's where we're gonna stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have a 7.3, which is a really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B as in boy, B letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.